Episode 47, the Star Wars Holiday Special. Welcome to the Visionary Variety Podcast, where we cover all kinds of cool stuff like photo, video, film, books, and technology. So switch on your brain and enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Visionary Variety Podcast, listeners. We have been on a break. Last week was Christmas, and we were just too dang busy to do an episode, so we said, you know what? It's all right. But we did release a blooper reel. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Angela put that together, and it was hilarious, at least for me. Maybe not so much for the listeners, but yeah, I mean, we were there. We remember those moments.
We're funny.
Of hilarity.
You had us for a whole year.
Well, yeah, it's almost been a year.
Almost, yeah.
So we're almost coming up to 1 year anniversary of starting the podcast, and that is super excited.
We done did it.
So if we could somehow have a party with all the listeners, we would do that, but I don't think that's realistic.
We'll think of a way.
So that's super excited. Coming up on 1 year, and it's been an educational experience for us, but also really fun to get to talk about things we love and get some great feedback from all the listeners. So today we're going to be talking about the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Which is not something we love, but it's
not very special. Yeah, sometimes we talk about things we don't love. And this is definitely one of them. Probably the most unloved thing we've ever talked about. We'll get into that more later. Yeah. But before we talk about the unspecialness of the Holiday Special of Star Wars, last week was Christmas. Like I said, it was pretty great. Probably one of my favorite holidays. Nate, why don't you tell us what you got for Christmas?
Finally, after a whole year, I got a desk. Well, I got two doors. So,
2 doors.
Yeah. DIY a desk. You just buy 2 doors and some legs from IKEA, and you can make a really big desk. So that's gonna be nice.
It's so hipster and cool.
Yeah.
So upcycly. Very
that's
upcycly.
So true. I got an R2 unit to build. It's about a foot tall, and you actually have to build the board inside for him to work and drive and all that fun stuff. And it kind of makes you want to go spend all your money on like the real thing, but I was playing with that all Christmas. But the sucky thing about the whole thing is like you build it the very first time and then it's like, oh, but I want him to do something different. And then they're like, oh, well, you have to unassemble it all for him to do something different. I was like, you suck. Like that's
lame.
I guess it's to teach you, like if you want something and you have to reconfigure everything. And I was like, oh, I mean, I guess I could see the learning curve, but being a big kid that I am, I'm like, I just want it to make a noise. And so, gosh darn it. Other than that, it was a good Christmas. Simple. Got a door, got an R2,
2 doors, not just one, not one, but 2.
Yeah.
And extra legs.
Oh, wow. Well, I got some cool gifts. 2 of them are from you, from your family. For any of our longtime listeners that endured our 1998 Lost in Space episode.
Quality.
Yeah, that was a fun one, actually.
Yeah.
You may recall me ranting and raving about how much I loved the blue robot model that they made for that movie and how I just wanted nothing more than to have the toy version of it. And I never got it. And my childhood was smashed to smithereens. But it's been put back together now because Nate got me the toy action figure of the blue robot from Lost in Space.
I would say the whole family got it. And
yes, the family.
The dad hunted it down.
He had to go like on the black market, on the dark web, and like threaten someone's life.
And like, yeah, here we go. We got one that's been unopened. It's like, oh, okay, awesome.
Hey, you got any of them blue robots? As he scratches his neck incessantly. So I got the blue robot, dream of my childhood. Also got a Canon 24 to 105 millimeter lens coffee mug, which is
plot twist.
Great. It looks just like the camera lens.
I know, right?
That costs a whole lot of money, but it's a coffee mug.
It's almost like one of those things you just want to take in front of a lot of camera lovers and be like, gosh darn it, and throw it really hard.
Throw it on the ground. I hate you.
Oh my God.
And like go to like the store, like a hobby store, and get like some gears and parts and stuff, and like just.
I see what a camera exchange, ask to see the real lens of the 24 to 105, pocket it, bring out the coffee mug and chunk it across the room.
Oh my, you're gonna get banned.
Yeah. Twist up.
It's evil. I'm sorry. All my photographer friends are like wringing their hands. I got some gift cards. I got a Walmart, Amazon, nothing crazy, but I'm very grateful for them because I got $100 for Amazon, so that's gonna be sweet.
Man, that's awesome.
I don't know what I'm gonna spend it on. I'll find. Trust me, I will
His
find
name
something.
is Nate, and he is available.
Oh my gosh! Here is my wish list.
Yeah, here's my link. Angela, how about you? How was your Christmas and what did you get?
Oh, it was good. Spent time with family on Christmas Eve and on Christmas Day. I ended up getting a marker set.
Whoa, calm down.
Hey, it's amazing. Okay, you don't understand.
No, I know.
I've only had like 9 markers or something this whole time, and I've got a set of 100. So,
goodness.
Wow, you just went from like 8-bit to 12-bit.
I know. I went from like Game Boy to Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
Advanced people. Okay.
Love Game Boy Color.
So yeah, I get to finally experiment with some more colored artworks, which people who have followed my art for a while will consider that to be something crazy since I've only done like black and white stuff for the most part.
Welcome to
time.
Vision. I'm sure. Welcome to
I
color.
know. I'm not colorblind anymore.
It's like you just got a chroma color glasses and now you're crying and you can see color and it's so emotional. And there's also really emotional music. It's like that.
Yeah.
La, la, la.
Sure.
Sorry. I love those videos. I want to be colorblind and get those glasses just so I can have that experience.
Okay.
So wait, what if you're not colorblind? You put them
look
on.
better.
Is it like even better?
It'll look weird. No, it'll look like green, red, weird stuff. I don't know. Anyway, back to Angela.
Yes, thank you.
Back to you.
Yeah, and I also got some Lord of the Rings pops, which is kind of cool.
Whoa.
I got Frodo and Sam, Aragorn, and Gollum is really creepy as a pop. I'm not sure how I feel about him.
Big head. He's already got a big head.
Yeah, he's got a scary face, so there's that. And I'll admit, I ended up treating myself this Christmas. And around Black Friday, I bought myself a Switch as my own Christmas gift to myself.
Yeah. Switch.
I've been wanting a Switch for a while. I really do like the good old Nintendo games. So I ended up getting Mario Kart 8 with the Switch. And I also, for Christmas, I got the new Super Smash Brothers games, Smash Ultimate. And
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool.
Christmas is pretty sweet this year.
Speaking of smashing it, I'm joking.
Okay, no.
No.
Daniel, you just had a video release of you today.
I did, yeah. So 60-second docs finally released or finished and posted my documentary. My it's a 60 seconds, obviously. It's a documentary, obviously. It's kind of a given. Yeah, so they posted it on Instagram sometime this morning. I'm not exactly sure when, but I noticed that I was tagged in it around like 10 a.m. And at that time, I watched it and it was awesome. I was like smiling from ear to ear.
That's
I've been
awesome.
waiting
I
for this
bet.
for like months.
I think you're my only friend that actually has not one, but 2 documentaries of them.
That's awesome.
Not a lot of people could say that.
Yeah, I know.
And I did not make either of them, for the record. They were done of their own volition. So yeah, it was around 10 or 10:30 when I saw it, maybe 11, and it already had 11,000 views on
Goodness.
Facebook.
That's crazy.
It was like, this is amazing. And so, of course, I shared the crap out of that, and everybody else shared the crap out of that. Like literally every 2 minutes, I got a notification someone shared it.
Wow.
And I was like, I love you guys.
You know, what's crazy is I saw so many people like, hey, I know that dude. Hey.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny.
I've had a few people that watched it unknowing, like they watched the original post from 60-second docs because they're really popular.
Yeah.
So they just saw it come up in their feed and they're like, wait, I know those cosplayers, or that's Daniel. And then they wrote me like, hey, I saw this video and it was you.
You're like, yeah, I'm pretty
So
famous.
cool.
I know.
Yeah,
2
it's pretty much
documentaries.
me,
How
yeah.
many do you have? I'm
I
joking.
I'm a pretty big deal.
Oh my gosh. So it's really exciting. Currently, all right, let's see at this very moment. So 60-second docs presents is what the name of the page is on Facebook. They've got 4.4 million followers.
Oh my gosh.
And my video at this very moment has 97,000 views.
Dang.
Yeah. 612 shares and 70 comments.
Oh my gosh.
Which is really fun to scan through there and talk to people on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm going to be at 100,000 views in less than 24 hours. That's
Crazy.
viral as heck.
You famous.
Yeah, my daughter said that today. I told her about the video. She's 6 years old. She goes, my daddy's famous. I was like, yeah, he is.
That's so cute.
So this is super humbling and exciting. And I hope that these numbers turn into actual paying customers.
Right.
You know what's crazy is I watched the video and doing a video myself. It's like man, like they just got to the point in 60 seconds. Like that sounds like a big number to say, but that goes by really, really, really quick when you're watching a video. And they covered like pretty much Daniel in a nutshell.
They did a good job editing.
And I'm like,
dang,
they really crammed in a lot.
Good summarization.
Yeah, they've got some really good editors, and the video guy that did my interview and did the shoot, he was a great job. Also, many of those video clips in there are done by our very own Nate here. So thanks for Nate for following me around with your camera all the time.
You know, it's crazy as I was watching and I was like, oh, I know that shot. Oh wait,
I took that.
I was like, what? It's crazy to see something that I've shot and somebody else edit it and put it in a story. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, so that's been really fun watching it get shared and people commenting and, just getting some more recognition. I've been at this working really hard for 3 years doing this cosplay stuff, and it's finally kind of getting some love beyond, my local followers and friends.
Right.
So that's been my highlight of my day. I also did a fun photo shoot today of 2 cosplayers, Spider-Gwen and female Quicksilver.
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook. How'd that go?
It went really good. It was super fun. The younger girl, she just turned 17 today. So at the time of this recording, it is December 28th, which is also Stan Lee's birthday.
Happy birthday.
So that shoot went good. And also I finished the Gunn's family photo shoot. Was it last week?
I think something like that. I'll say yes.
Yeah. And that was a big hit. Everyone loved it.
You know, honestly, this is going to sound really sad. And I love every single one of my family members, but I'm actually more excited about what we did at the end.
Yeah, I'm going to start editing that soon.
Oh, secrets.
Yeah, so after we finished this Western-styled family photo shoot for Nate's family for the Christmas card, we had a little fun. Nate happened to have bought a certain drink cup that is modeled after the wrist gauntlet from Cowboys and Aliens. And so what does Nate do? He cracks it open and turns it into an actual wrist gauntlet minus the cup, and he put it on with his cowboy costume, and we did a Cowboys and Aliens photo or two at the end of the photo shoot. So I'm going to be adding some UFOs and some lens flares and some cool stuff.
Not so much to be like a mirrored image of the Cowboys and Aliens, the movie, but the idea of
inspired
like a space cowboy,
yes.
Pretty much.
I can't wait to see that. That sounds awesome.
So that's enough about us. Let's get on to let's get this over with.
Let's keep talking about us. It's
I don't want
to. You're gonna stall it.
Sorry.
Put it
if you listen this far, go ahead and stop and save your ears.
I don't wanna. Yeah, normally in movie review type episodes, I strongly advise you go watch the movie before we talk about it. But in this case, I'm gonna warn you to not watch it.
No.
No, everybody suffer with us.
I think you should watch it, and you'll appreciate every other single movie in the world.
You will appreciate what we have done to provide entertainment for all of you here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we watched it so you don't have to. That's my slogan for this episode. I recently saw someone like legitimately saying they did not like The Christmas Story, the movie. I love the Christmas Story. It's like a family favorite.
Yeah.
I know it's cheesy and weird and it's different, but that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
So it's like, this movie is just not good. It's not funny. It's boring. I'm like, bro, you need to watch the Star Wars Holiday Special. Then you'll love this movie. It'll be the best movie you ever saw compared to that crap.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. It will lift the quality of everything.
Yeah,
significantly.
it honestly will.
But it may make you enjoy Star Wars less. It might hurt your Star Wars fandom. We thought about having Josh back on the podcast for this episode.
He asked kindly. He's like, I feel like I might hate Star Wars after I watch that. I don't even know.
He had to back out.
I'm glad he did. I'm glad for his own safety, because he's a Star Trek and Doctor Who fan. He's not as much about Star Wars as me and Nate. And I just don't want to give him any cause to not like Star Wars any more than this. So I just told him, no, don't.
It was crazy. Like, he doesn't even know what we got into, and he was already saying he will ban it from his life.
Dude, I know it. As little as I know about him, I know he would just not finish it. So, like I said, we got to get this over. So first I want to ask you guys, what was your experience like enduring, not watching, but enduring this thing?
What was
it like for you?
I think I have a good term for this, and it's not even my term. And it came up with on my own. I'll have a little story behind this. After I watched this movie, I ended up sharing on my Facebook feed that I watched it because I have a lot of Star Wars fans on there, people who are in the 501st, etc. So I got a message from one of my 501st friends who said one, I needed to let him know before I do stupid things like this because otherwise he could have saved me from all that. And two, he actually watched the special when it aired for the first time on TV. So, and he still says he has memories, flashbacks from that experience, and he described
PTSD flashbacks.
He described it as watching a train wreck in slow motion. And I was like, oh my goodness, that is the perfect description for how I felt when I watched this. And the train wreck lasts for over an hour and a half.
You can't look away. Yeah.
It's bad. It is literally the worst movie I have ever seen in my life. That is no exaggeration. I was so ready for it to be
flinching.
over with.
There's visible signs of agony. You're sweating. You're trying to look away, but you can't.
Literally, that is what happened. I was so done after the first 5 minutes of Wookiee speech with no subtitles, and it kept going.
That hurt my ears.
Yeah,
I lost some hearing to that scene.
It was just so awful.
Yeah, the whole thing's bad, but I'm gonna say the first 15 minutes is probably the worst. It's hard to say.
But it's definitely up there. It's
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do not need a Wookiee family sitcom.
The plus side of this whole entire thing was the end of it being over. I wish the stormtroopers talked, but whatever.
Dude, they were so awkward with their gun holding.
Yeah, I thought, like, what is
what
wrong
are you doing?
with
Especially
this?
like the first time, like when he went and touched the machine, and he's like, "Whoa, hold on, I have to turn it on." He was like weirdly holding it. I was like, "What are you doing?" It looked like he was more afraid of the gun than he was of shooting it. I was like,
it's pretty impressive when you can act badly with no lines, with one body motion, and wearing a full suit of like plastic armor.
That is impressive.
That's impressive. It's pretty bad acting. For me, I had a long period where I was fighting like to stay awake, and I was sitting in Starbucks watching this thing. I was like dozing off.
Oh my god!
I guess the music is really calm and like elevator music-y.
It doesn't help when they have those music breaks where they just last way too long.
Let's just say if you were high, you'd have a great time.
Oh yeah, LSD. This is your best friend. Yeah, that's to blame. This is drugs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I fought sleep. I was just appalled. Like it was like a mockery. Like the intro wasn't even like a parody. It was like a mocking attempt to make fun of Star Wars. Like the title crawl, which Angela brought it up. She's not sure if that title crawl was in the original. I think it was, but it may not have been.
Because we found two different versions of the movie to watch. Yeah. And the one I saw ended up watching was, it had, I think, an advertisement for some General Motors stuff in the beginning.
Whoa.
And then it didn't, and then it jumped right into like the movie. So it didn't have that title crawl.
Interesting.
So, but then I did see one with the title crawl. And the thing that makes me believe that it's not legit, maybe somebody edited that in after they posted it, possibly, was it started out with episode 4.5, and it's from what I understand, Star Wars episode 4 wasn't originally known as episode 4 until I think either after the 5th movie or until they came out with them on VHS or something, or as a collection. Possibly. Originally it was just Star Wars.
I think the version that I think Angela and I watched, at the very end, it jumped to a commercial about Wonder Woman and the Hulk.
Oh yeah, they said Wonder Woman and the Hulk wasn't going to be on TV that night because of that. So
I'm wondering if it's like a
what a shame.
I wonder if it's like original taping and it wasn't like a release. Like somebody taped their.
Well, there was only one broadcast of it ever.
I know, but I wonder if somebody got really excited and they're like, "We're going to record it tonight, honey," and pulled out their VHS and recorded.
The only way we're able to see it at all today online is because some schmuck or a few recorded this piece of junk on a VHS, kept it in their attic, and in the late 90s, someone digitized it into a digital file, and now we have it.
There's no official version of this movie to purchase because George Lucas wants to get rid of them.
So the real question is that person the good guy or the bad guy in the story?
True. Are they the hero or the villain of all this here?
They are the hero of bad.
No. The villain?
Well, the crime's already been committed, and we fell for it. We watched it.
Yeah.
A little bit about this holiday special. It broadcast only one time, like I said, on a Friday night. I think it was at 8 p.m. and on November 17th, 1978. It was never rebroadcast. It did show in Canada, I think at a different time, but only once. And like Angela said, George Lucas has tried to pull the plug on this every way possible. Not only just to get his name out of it and to not be the one at fault for it happening, but it was never released on home movie, VHS, DVD. It's never been released anywhere from Disney or George Lucas.
No one feels bad for him.
If you see a tape around, it's a bootleg. It's not official.
Yeah.
Although there is one interesting thing to point out is that the cartoon that airs in the middle of this whole thing is actually in the Blu-ray set on a bonus disc. So he's actually somewhat okay with that cartoon, but nothing else.
Yeah, that cartoon does stand out as a good point.
Yeah.
Now, the art isn't great, and the caricature of Harrison Ford is awful.
Yeah, he looked like he got
All
his
of it's
face
awful.
smashed by something. Like he didn't make it out of that trash.
I'm like, open your eyes. What? He's still asleep? Is his eyes open? I don't know.
I was very confused why Boba Fett was saying friend.
Just to throw them off.
He's just conniving, deceiving.
Yeah.
He's like, "Are you okay, friend?
Assassin.
Follow me, friend." I'm like,
he was
"Please
talking
stop."
to that to B. Arthur's character.
I'm like,
He
Lord.
frequents the cantina.
That's also a psychological trick to make someone trust you a little bit more.
Probably.
Call him friend. He was working for Vader, so.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I think the best scenes in this whole movie were all the cut scenes from the movie.
The stock footage.
There was a few shots from space and also Vader walking through the Death Star.
It took me a second to realize, like, that's stock footage, isn't it? Because when they had the Imperial Guard who's walking next to him start talking, I noticed his lips syncing is not good. So
we think they took footage from the movie and this added whatever they wanted to over it.
Yeah, they did. Actually, I found out that part is a deleted scene from episode 4 that never made it.
I think it was included in a later special edition.
Probably.
Because I remember hearing about a clip that wasn't released and then it was. So possibly on the 94 or the 2004 version of it. 97 or 2004 special edition, they might have included. I'm not really sure, but.
See, one of the things that kind of threw me out was the technology. Now, I understand it's a TV special. We got that part. Don't need to criticize, but like in episode 4, 5, 6, when any electronic noise or machine made a noise, it was weird. But goodness, anytime something made noise in the TV special, it was almost irritating to hear when an electronic piece came on. I was like,
this is blatantly 70s.
So many trippy visuals that were like not Star Wars-y at all.
Yeah.
Like when have we had psychedelic screen animation playing the worm or whatever that is?
I don't.
Never. But CBS said, this is a good idea. Let's do this. The holograms also look nothing like Star Wars technology holograms.
No.
Star Wars technology holograms are not perfect. That took me out of it too. I was like, this is not Star Wars.
I really liked Chewbacca. And for the fact that they
must have hurt for you.
A lot. I was like, stop.
Made you almost not want to like Wookiees anymore.
Speaking of Wookiees, so the end scene where they randomly walk into an orb of light in space for no apparent reason.
Yeah, the choir Wookiees.
The church choir.
Oh, no.
The church choir of Wookiees.
Monk Wookiees.
So you notice how there was a lot of them, right? There was like 20, maybe 30 of them just walking. That. This is funny. If you look closely, you'll notice that their bodies, especially even Chewbacca's, their bodies are not the normal thickness that a Wookiee body would be. Why is that? Because they're literally wearing the headpiece and a red robe over their human bodies.
Gosh.
And all that group of Wookiees, because they couldn't afford to make all those costumes, they just said, we'll just give them heads and give them a robe.
Genius.
Pretty clever, actually, but you can tell when you look at their bodies, you're like,
some extra padding under there.
They did. I don't think they even did that. Not for Chewie, at least.
They could have at least done that, but well.
Could have. No, that's money.
That's what I want. If I ever get a Wookiee suit, that's what I want to wear. The robe.
The robe.
So you could just not wear a Wookiee suit?
If you got a Wookiee suit, you really need to cosplay as like the Life Day Wookiees or something.
Dude, that would be so classic and awesome.
Yeah.
Life Day.
I don't think anybody else has done that. Not that I know of, at least. Get yourself a candle or whatever they're carrying and just go around the convention floor.
You do that, and I'll be Woodrow Hood with my ice cream Star Wars machine.
Oh my gosh.
So speaking of props, Boba Fett in the animated little short, he's got that funky looking gun that he zaps that beast with, right? The end of the gun looks like a pitchfork. Well, on Jon Favreau's Instagram, you can see a picture. This may be CGI but it looks like a real photo of a prop of a gun made for the Mandalorian TV show that's coming up on the Disney streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
This is about Mandalorians, and Boba Fett is a Mandalorian. So there is apparently going to be a rifle in the Mandalorian TV show modeled after Boba Fett's rifle in this cartoon short. How cool is that?
Making it canon again.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that the Christmas special made canon.
It is. Yeah, it technically was canon.
Yeah.
But I think it was lost when Disney bought Star Wars. However, little tidbits have been making their way back into canon.
I don't know why, but it's a thing.
You know, it just comes back full circle that no one feels bad for George Lucas that this is out because he gave the thumbs up and he put his little thumb up and said yes. And then he watched it. He's like, no.
Thumb.
Well, we don't even know exactly what his involvement officially was in the final product.
Still, his name's on the credit.
He removed his name. No, it's not. He removed his name from the credits.
The one I watched.
No,
maybe I filled it in
it's
mentally.
not there. I've read a couple things where it's
maybe
saying,
I just saw a guy named George and I assumed it was Lucas.
Probably. I even checked on IMDb and he's not on there either for it. But I've read a couple different accounts. Like there was one account that said that he approved of the dailies that the film crew sent him.
Exactly.
But then I've also read that all he did was he wrote an initial draft of the script, which was originally more Star Wars-y as we know it, but then CBS came in and wanted it to be more of a variety show because that's what they did back in the 70s. So I don't know how much of the final product he actually saw.
I'm surprised there was no lawsuit. He should just sue himself because
himself.
I cannot believe it's like having production quality like you see in all the episodes and then giving there's just something about movie magic that makes all the characters fit and there's something about non-movie magic that just makes you want to cringe the whole time.
Yeah. Well, I guess that comes under production quality and the budget and the equipment they used because this was not a movie soundstage set. So the lighting was different. It was like cheesy, in-house sitcom lighting for the Chewie's house. And just the rest of it was done with people who are used to TV specials and used to TV work, not movies.
It was kind of cringe. It was cringy the whole time, but it was actually funny to see Harrison Ford act. And that
he did not want to be
he
there.
Looks so bored. He's like, wow.
He's
so bored. What's so funny about him being on board is there's this one shot at the very end of the movie when Carrie Fisher is singing her song and there's a shot of him while she's singing and it looks like he doesn't even know the camera is like filming him at the moment. He looks so completely disinterested and out of it.
That's hilarious.
It cracks me up.
Maybe he was on the same stuff that Carrie Fisher was on.
I don't know. I think he'd be happier if he was, honestly. But
I think she was just happy she was getting a paycheck. Can we talk about how awful Luke looked?
Yeah,
he
there's a reason
like a Ken
why he kind of looked that way.
I mean, I get it, but dang.
It's just because his car wreck was before that movie was filmed, so he had scars on his face. So they wanted to try to cover them up. So they put way too much makeup on him. But I don't understand the eyeliner and the mascara on.
Exactly, that's what threw me off. Here's what threw me off is the eyeliner that everybody wore, and that threw me off. But if you think about it, I mean, he had the accident, and then they recorded another episode movie, and he looked fine. It's like
they I think what they did is they probably put makeup on him initially at the beginning for episode 5, but then he got attacked by what is it, the snow, what's it called, the wampa. He got attacked by that. So the scars he got from the car wreck, they were able to put it into the movie by saying that's from his attack.
Clever.
No, he looks like a Ken doll. He looks fake.
I don't know what happened to his hair either. Like, why did that look different?
He
it looked like
is
he was wearing
super
a wig.
blonde.
That scene with Luke, I felt like it was like the original tryout tape that he sent in before Star Wars happened.
Yeah, something seems very wrong about it.
Stupid fog machine. Oh man, it's terrible.
I mean, even R2 did a bad job.
Hey, that's because Kenny Baker wasn't in this at all.
He wasn't?
That's actually how the heck did he get out of that? He dodged a bullet
because R2 didn't move.
True. I was going to say he wasn't in the credits. It just said R2D2 as R2D2.
Yeah, he wasn't.
So I wonder how Kenny Baker got out of that one because he would have been still alive.
Yeah, they didn't have any moving parts.
I know, but still.
He's a prop, basically.
He moved.
He cost too much money.
No, he didn't roll. He just moved his head around.
He can do that with remote control.
Yeah.
I could have. So Kenny Baker only did the moving parts in the movie, and anything like electronic or parts coming out of R2 was robotic?
Yeah,
I'm
I think so.
not entirely sure. I just know that they
Sounds
didn't
about
need
right.
him for this. He dodged a bullet, honestly.
Yeah, I'm
Lucky-
sure he's
lucky
like,
him.
woo.
Yeah.
So here's some funny quotes about how this was received by critics and also by the actors.
I
So
can't wait.
first quote, yeah. The first quote is by David Hofstede. He's the author of What Were They Thinking? The 100 Dumbest Events in Television History.
Oh.
So this is where they rank holiday specials, and they rank this one as the #1 worst.
Yep.
He said, this is what he said about it. He said, this was the worst 2 hours of television ever, end quote.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Another guy who works for Fox News Channel, this is Shepard Smith.
Oh,
He
no.
referred to it as the 70s train wreck, combining the worst of Star Wars with the utter worst of variety television. So true.
Accurate.
Now, for the actual actors that were in it, Carrie Fisher said that she made George Lucas give her a copy of the special. This is like, I think in the early 2000s.
Mhm.
So she made him give her a copy of the holiday special in exchange for recording the commentary on the Star Wars trilogy. This is probably from the special edition, maybe
Mhm.
2004. And this is what she said. She said, I wanted a copy of it so that I would have something for parties when she wanted everyone to leave. That's a burn.
Perfect.
That's a sick burn.
Yeah, it is. Oh man.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I like Carrie Fisher. She seems like
can
a
be,
fun,
yeah, she's funny.
witty woman.
Yeah. We're not going to mention my favorite quote from somebody. I don't know who it is though, so it doesn't sound very official. But back in the day, someone reviewed it, and they said it was directed and written by a sentient bag of cocaine, and that's a good description.
It's freaking hilarious.
That's my favorite.
Enough earlier, but that intro title crawl was so dumb.
Yeah.
Like just reading it, I was like, this can't be like real. Like, is this like seriously on here?
Yeah, that's
Like, first of all, it said episode 4.5.
Yeah.
And with the half symbol.
Yeah,
Like,
that and yeah, all that just makes me believe. I don't think it's legit. Even how stupid the special is, that's just a different kind of stupid. And
it is.
Yeah.
And the way that it worded, like the last part, it was like the Golden Girls, and Greedo argue, which I don't actually remember them arguing.
Was the Golden Girls even around when that first aired?
No, I think she would be one of the stars.
So yeah, that's not
yet.
Legit. Somebody just edited.
Yeah, and then it's like the princess sings, and the end says, and she sings again. I'm like, this is so bad.
Yeah,
Who wrote this crap?
Some teenager thinking they're funny.
Yeah. And then we open with Lumpy's voice, which is the worst sound. Like
Lumpy.
Dumb and Dumber's sound from Jim Carrey was supposed to be the worst sound ever.
They sound a lot alike, honestly.
They are. They are probably quite similar.
Maybe Jim Carrey got inspiration from this.
Maybe.
There's a lot of inspiration ideas, like the lady that sounds like Mrs. Doubtfire. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, Harvey Korman. It could be Mrs. Doubtfire.
Y'all probably did some weed and watched this, and you're like, I have an idea for a future movie.
Stir, whip, whip, stir, whip, whip.
Oh, God, that was annoying.
I think his robot thing was worse.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was probably the most annoying tutorial I have ever watched.
Like, who would release this tape with a malfunctioning robot to be the instructional video for the product? Like,
I mean, okay, wait.
Doesn't make sense.
I should say they did a good job at it. They were pretty spot on of him malfunctioning.
Yeah,
but I do
admire that they gave it their all. At least, like these actors, for the most part. Yeah, I feel bad for them.
Working with what they had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the most disturbing scene in this movie, though?
No.
Chewbacca's dad.
No.
You know what the one I'm talking about, don't you?
No, we don't.
I already feel uncomfortable.
The one where he's like in the machine and watching the lady. This like softcore porn thing. And
Experience me.
How is this family friendly? It's like, what were they thinking when they...
Speaking of family, his family is all immediately
in the
around.
Room.
Like, what? That poor woman.
I was watching this and I was like, what are we about to watch? And then I'm like, what is happening? And
the worst.
Yeah, my
this.
first reaction. I'm an adult. My first reaction is like, we're turning this down because somebody's gonna hear this in the house. Somebody's gonna think I'm into some weird stuff, and I'm gonna have a problem.
Oh my gosh!
And it's not
New
me.
age
it's
erotica.
It's a TV show.
It's freaking Chewbacca's dad. That's a perv.
Get nasty.
Ugh.
Oh man.
And that lip when every time he got excited.
Oh, that lip.
Oh,
Stop
my
with
God.
the
Ugh.
lip.
I've got nightmares about that lip moving.
Ugh.
Oh,
Speaking of mouths,
Okay.
there's a scene where Mala smiles, like or tries to
yeah.
smile early on. Like I think it's the merchant guy. He's like, "Come on, Mala, smile for me,
Yeah.
smile."
Uh-huh.
And it's like, what just happened? This is like so awful.
Yeah, that was terrible too.
This like variety show was like a grouping of a random crap that didn't need to be there in order to take up time. Like the little hologram thing,
Yeah.
the show that the kid watches, that
Yep.
pointless musical required viewing from the Empire.
Yeah. All of it
Why
was
is this-
so mind-numbingly bad.
I mean,
I'm getting angry at CBS. I really am.
Guys, recounting all of these things is making me feel like I'm losing brain cells right now. I am not kidding.
you know what's the worst part is for the actor. Well, I should say the artist that had to sing. I don't think they knew what they were getting into.
Probably not.
Like the band, I don't remember the name of the band, but oh my,
Jefferson.
Something Starship.
Starship. Something.
Jefferson Starship.
I don't
that's
even know.
crazy because I like
Probably
some
ruined
of their
their
songs
career.
in reality.
I didn't skip through the whole thing. I'm very proud of
I
myself,
did
except
not.
for that music part.
I
I skipped
so-
through the rock and roll part.
We were talking about nightmares, and that's right when I dozed off to sleep when they
Oh,
started
no.
singing.
You fell asleep, and what happened?
What happened? What kind
Did
of
you ever
dreams?
watch Winnie the
Let's
Pooh
talk about
growing
this,
up?
Nate. Watch what?
Winnie the Pooh when you were growing up?
Yeah.
You know, Heffalump and the Weasels? It was kind of that kind
Actually-
of dream. I was like very
Oh my
tripped
gosh.
out when I was sleeping. I was like, whoa. And I was very
Ugh.
uncomfortable when I woke up. I was like, I don't know what just happened, but I
Oh
feel
my
like
gosh.
everything that happened in that VR happened.
Who needs
Wow.
drugs when you've got the holiday specials?
I'm just sitting there thinking when I woke up the next day, I'm like, man, I fell asleep from exhaustion. I cannot imagine if somebody was tripping out on some drugs or something. This would be awful.
Mhm.
Very awful.
Or it'd be better.
like
I
when-
don't know.
It's like the druggies that watched Space 2001: Space Odyssey on drugs, like on purpose.
Oh,
Like people
man.
would take drugs to watch this.
They go sneak back into the theater to go watch the end again.
Yeah. One part that did make me smile was when we heard the Wilhelm scream. When
Yeah.
the stormtrooper was thrown off the balcony. That was hilarious.
I like that.
That
was-
actually felt like Star Wars when Chewbacca and Han showed up. It felt very Star Wars again.
Yeah.
when they-
Well, except for Han when he faked out that one stormtrooper by acting like he's going for the blaster on the ground, and then the stormtrooper leaped off the
yeah,
building.
but
out of
you know
fright.
that's just
That was
that's
so
just the
stupid.
cringy part of Star Wars. There's some things like that that are like, ugh. But it's like that felt more Star Wars than and the cutscenes than the whole thing.
yeah.
So I felt like anytime I saw Chewbacca and Han, I was like, okay, this feels like Star Wars. Like when they were doing the fighting scene in the Millennial Falcon.
Even though
I
they
was
had a
like-
bunch of stock footage for the
Yeah,
space
whatever.
battles from episode
Why
4.
is the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon so bouncy?
I think it was probably a makeshift thing that was super cheap.
They're in
They paid
space.
for it.
No, they
I
were in a
think it-
studio.
but-
It was bouncy.
But like in the original trilogy, it was kind of like that. They like bounced the whole thing for the action scenes. And
I
I'm
don't-
thinking, I'm like, why are they bouncing?
That
They
space
gotta blow 'em out.
turbulence is intense.
Space turbulence. Hold on, folks. We're hitting some charged particle turbulence.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then that random montage at the end of like the movie clips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, remember Star Wars and how great it was? Well, we're going to show
Mm-hmm.
some of that just to keep you hanging on.
Yeah.
So bad.
That was stupid.
Well,
Mm.
this is like one of those movies that's just so painful to watch. You finish it and you're like, why did I waste my life? Why
Yep.
have I done this to myself?
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize the only thing to do is to make somebody else watch it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's crazy?
Like the ring
is-
tape. Pass on the curse.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy
Uh.
is I had like 30 minutes left of this whole TV show, and I was dreading the end. And I was like, I need it to end, but I don't want to watch anymore.
I felt
And-
bad. I felt bad for you because you had to have this take like take part of 2 of your days and not just one. You had 2
You know
days
what's
ruined because
crazy?
of this
That
movie.
last 30 minutes, I had like 7 different phone calls come in. And I'm like, you are prolonging this. I'd rather have bamboo
like-
shoved
Let
in
me
my
finish
fingernail.
It's like everybody had a sense that you were doing something completely awful and they had to try to stop you.
It was like my 30 minutes turned into an hour.
Oh no.
So I had a very well-dwelled, long process thinking of this awfulness thing.
And
Wow.
every time I looked at the little time, the playhead to see how far I was, I got so excited. I was like, yes, it's getting closer to the end, please.
I know. I was like, what do you mean it's only been 20 minutes?
So I'm just gonna say something here. Why?
Yeah.
Why must we do
Why did I
this?
make y'all watch this?
No,
Yeah,
I get the whole part
I
of
did think
why
that,
am I watching
honestly.
this? But we're in the hey, I will say this was like well done. I thought we were in the cantina. I was like, maybe they're recording in the same area. I thought
They probably used
the
the
set
same
was
set.
nice. Bartender,
Terrible.
she had a really deep voice. Whatever.
Yeah, it's B. Arthur, man. What do you expect?
I know, but still,
She
just
needed
kind
to
of throws
backhand
you
that
off.
guy.
And come back. I'll be here waiting for you. Oh my goodness.
That was a funny gag right there. I did laugh. I was like, oh, that's clever. That's clever. When she said it to the other guy.
I do not like that they took the theme song in the cantina of the opening scene of every Star Wars movie and added words to it.
Lyrics, yeah.
I was like, no. Every time
this.
she's like, it's not goodbye, it's goodnight, friend. I'm like, oh no.
Oh, friend.
Oh
Friend.
no.
That's what I'm
And it
saying.
was
So
like,
she's been talking
friend.
to Boba Fett. They've been talking to each other. That's why they talk.
But it's not so much what she's saying, it's the fact that she's using a theme song to sing and it's ruining my childhood.
Leave it instrumental.
Anytime you watch any other Star Wars movie and the movie opens up to that theme song, you're going to hear her words singing in the back
It's
of your
not
head.
goodbye.
No,
It's goodnight, friend.
no,
Friend.
never.
Friend.
Well, I think we should end this.
Thank God.
Yeah,
There's
think
nothing else to say.
not
'cause
really. I
We're
think
down. Shoot him. End it. Finish it.
Yeah.
I want to stay
Put this,
a diehard Star Wars fan.
yeah.
And
Let's put
dwelling
this
on this just
podcast
isn't
out of its
conducive.
misery.
I am a diehard Star Wars fan to watch this and still love Star Wars.
yeah.
I'm
I
not sure
deserve,
how I feel.
honestly, anybody that's ever watched this deserves a plaque.
Yes.
Like,
A
recognition
You
or
need an
something.
award.
That's not a
Need a
millennial
ribbon.
comment because this came up before millennials were even thought of. This sucks from many generations back. So,
Oh my gosh.
Before everyone won something.
yeah, before it was E
Oh,
for
boy.
effort and
This
a
is
star on
bad.
everything I did.
Well, I
Uh,
give you guys full permission to cause me and force me to watch something bad for the sake of a fun episode.
oh my
no,
gosh.
it's okay.
I put this upon you, and I take
It's
full
too
responsibility.
late. It's too late. They already reviewed this for being the worst #1 movie.
Yeah, nothing will beat this, Daniel. We cannot think of anything that will top this. This is not
That's
fair.
impressive.
Go
That's
big
something.
or go
Yeah,
home. And we went
congratulations.
#1.
Go Star Wars Holiday Special or go home.
I go home
All right.
I go
100%.
Well, thank you, listeners, for enduring
Go
this
watch
episode. It's definitely way better than the Holiday Special.
No. Go watch the episode. Go watch the movie.
They may be so curious as to
They
wonder
might be
what's
curious
the big
after hearing
deal.
us talk about it.
But if you go
How
watch
could
it,
be
you watch
so
it
bad?
your own viewing. It's not our fault. It sucks.
Yeah.
you did this
it's
to
not good.
yourself. We accept no blame in any of
Like,
this.
I think there's only one last thing to say, and it is Happy Life Day.
No, it's goodbye, friend.
Goodbye,
it's
friend.
not goodbye,
But-
friend. It's just good night, friend.
There you go. Let's end our episode, every episode, with that.
Oh,
Lord.
goody.
Oh, I mean, you don't even understand. I'm down to do that, but
What?
I think I'm going to cringe every time.
You're like, I'm not listening.
You know
to
what
the
sucks?
podcast anymore.
Is that song stuck in my head? And what makes it worse is I almost turned on the theme song for the Star Wars just to sing it, and I'm like, no, what is happening right now?
It's taking over.
Yeah.
Can't stop. All right, but for real, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Visionary Variety Podcast. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you won't miss any of our future episodes. You can also find our previous episodes there and listen whenever you want. We'd love to hear from our listeners, so if you have any comments or suggestions for a future episode, you can reach us at tvvpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again, and have a great week.
Did you guys have a good Christmas?
What?
You're still in the holiday spirit, huh?
This is gonna make noise, and I'm sorry, my finger's stuck. Hold on. Sorry.
Your finger?
I was messing with something, and my finger's stuck. I'm like, well, I was waiting for a moment to pause.
I'm sorry. I thought it was really funny for me.
That, folks, was Nate's R2D2 that he made over Christmas.
My finger got stuck in something, and I was like, well, either I'm going to sit here the whole episode holding my finger in R2, or